So what do you think about this? I've heard that, and actually have a friend of mine who's been thinking about visiting Cuba, but now he has this problem with this about having the ESTA, which is the ESTA, is electronic service. Let me check it out, but
Yep.
it's something about electronic something. Let me
Yeah,
check
I
that
heard
out.
about it. For example, my brother lives in Spain, and if he came to Cuba, he couldn't visit the US for like a time and a specific period of time. I don't know exactly how this works.
Well, I found an article and it says, for example, they were talking about the UK because they say the UK doesn't have any sanctions against Cuba, but British passport, right? But this is because Cuba is currently on the US state sponsor of terrorism.
Exactly.
So under the terms of the ESTA, or ESTA, however you want to call it, is Electronic System for Travel Authorization. That's what it is. And you cannot enter to the US using an existing ESTA or ESTA, however it is, if you've been previously in Cuba or visiting one of the countries that is on the list, and Cuba is one of them. The ban includes transit, where you're flying on to another country. So,
Exactly. I heard about an Australian girl. Australia is very far from Cuba, so they have like a flight from Cuba to the US, and then like some flights to Europe and then Australia, and she have to change like all the travel because she couldn't visit the US, so she had to go to I think Canada, and it was like 56 hours of flight to Australia. It was so hard, very hard.
They have also something here that it says you're not gonna be like barred from entering the U.S. altogether, but instead of a 21 ESTA or ESTA again, you will have to apply for a visa through the U.S. embassy, which is gonna be costing you $160.
Whoa.
Well, it depends if you want to visit the United States and you have to go for business, whatever. I think that this, for example, the guy that I was talking about, I think he's going to be traveling from another country and taking a direct flight. I don't know how he's going to do that. Actually, if he does that, I'm going to be asking about how he have done that because it's very interesting. And so many people are visiting Cuba because they don't know about this. So if they are planning to visit the U.S., this is something that might hurt them, of course.
Exactly.
Also, they were saying, however, because Cuba was temporarily taken to the state sponsor of tourism, if you visited the country before January 12, 2021, you should still be eligible for an ESTA. Having an ESTA doesn't guarantee you entry into the U.S. though. So if you're unsure, you should contact your nearest U.S. embassy. These are the currently 3 other countries on the state sponsor of terrorism list: North Korea, Iran, Iran, I don't know how you say that, and Syria. If you've visited one of these countries in the past, you will need to apply for the tourist visa.
Oh.
For all of you who are watching this, what I would say is that if you're planning to visit Cuba, and after visiting Cuba, you want to like go to the United States within 2 years, think about this, because I don't know if all this like worth it or not. It depends about your plans.
Exactly.
You know?
It could be very problematic.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have a work or are you thinking of applying of working in the US, you have to think about it coming to Cuba and have, I don't know, some vacations or see your family. It depends.
Yeah, of course. On the other hand, what I don't understand is if people from the US, they can visit Cuba directly, Americans, like Holly, for example.
Yeah.
Why people from other countries cannot do that? Or I mean, they cannot go to the United States if they visited Cuba before. I don't get it. It's like,
Me too.
if you're American, you can visit Cuba, you can go back home. But if you're from another country, you cannot go to the United States just because you visited Cuba before. It doesn't make any sense for me. I don't get it. I should go for another, I don't know, trying to go for another place, looking for some like information about this because I don't know what's going on. And actually, if some of you guys who are listening or watching this, if you know what's going on here, please let us know. And we will love sharing that on the podcast as well.